Hi everyone, this is a mini lecture on infection to disease. So as we start talking about your pet microbe or microbes becoming pathogens, I wanted to go into what an infection and then disease looks like. So in the progress of an infection, we need to have some vocabulary down. So a pathogen is a microbe whose relationship with its host, in the case of what we're studying, it would be the human, is parasitic and results in infection and disease. And the type and severity of that infection depends on a number of different things, including the pathogenicity, or how strong the pathogen is of the organism, and also the condition of the host. What we'll find with a lot of the microbes that we find in our natural microbiome is that often they cause infection when the condition of the host is vulnerable. So pathogenicity is an organism's potential to cause infection or disease. We have certain microbes that are considered true pathogens, and these are capable of causing disease in healthy persons with normal immune defenses. So these are ones that always cause, or not always, but are pathogenic even if the human host is healthy. Some examples of this would be the influenza virus, plague, and also malaria. So these are true pathogens. We also have what we call opportunistic pathogens, and this is what you'll find more commonly with the natural biota, is that some of what we would consider our natural microbes, there's an opportunity that arises that allows them to become pathogens. So the cause of the disease is often when the host defenses are compromised, or another big one is they become established in a part of the body that is not natural for them. So perhaps it's a microbe that's normally found on the skin, and somehow we get it into our GI tract. That can cause a problem. These are not generally considered pathogenic to a normal, healthy person, and they do not possess well-developed virulence properties. They're not ones that can normally infect humans if they're healthy. Some examples of this would be the Pseudomonas species and Candida albicans, which is looking for an opportunity to cause disease. And virulence is another vocabulary word. The virulence of a microbe is determined by its ability to establish itself in a host and also cause damage. Virulence factor is any characteristic of the microbe that contributes to its ability to establish itself in the host and also cause damage. So when we're looking at an infection, I want to go through the different steps of infection. Step one would be becoming established. So often there's a portal of entry, and that's the route that the microbe takes to enter the part of the body that it's going to start an infection. If it's an exogenous microbe, it means that it originates from outside the body, from another person or animal. So in general, when we're looking at our microbiome, we would not see exogenous microbes. Normally what we would see is endogenous. These are microbes that already exist on the body, or maybe they were a previously silent infection. So step two, after we have that portal of entry, is becoming established or attaching to the host. And most microbes will go through some sort of adhesion in which they can gain a stable foothold on host tissues. And this is very dependent on binding between a specific molecules on both the host and pathogen. And the pathogen is limited to only those cells to which it can bind. It's not going to do it if it can't bind to the cells. And then firm attachment is almost always a prerequisite for causing the disease, because otherwise the body would have a way of getting rid of the microbes. So it really needs to adhere to the tissue. Step three then would be becoming established and surviving the host defenses. So microbes that we see are part of the normal biota and will likely not have a huge immune defense towards them because they're already something that's recognized as being on the body. Phagocytes are usually the cells that engulf and destroy the pathogens, and they do this through enzymes and antimicrobial chemicals. Step four is causing disease, and this is what actually happens once it's established itself and it's gained a foothold in the tissue. There are three ways that the microorganism then could start to damage the host. One is directly through the action of enzymes. It can also do it through the action of toxins. Sometimes it can secrete toxins that would damage the host cells. And The last one is indirectly by using the host defenses, which have recognized infection that will respond excessively or inappropriately, and they'll actually do the damage. So this is just a recap of the steps involved when a microbe causes disease in a host. We have that finding a portal of entry, and that may be that it goes to a different site on the body, attaching then firmly to the tissue, and surviving the host defenses, making itself start to grow. And then we have the causing damage or disease. And then the last step is exiting the host, because often it will want to go on to a new host and cause an infection. And so portals of exit are ways that the pathogens can exit the body. This can be through secretion, excretion, discharge, or sloughed off tissue. And often high numbers of the microbes in these materials will increase the likelihood that the pathogen will get to another host. And the portal of exit is usually the same as portal of entry, but some pathogens use a different route. And you can imagine that in this case, an infection of the GI tract that may be through the mouth, the actual portal of entry, the portal of exit would be different. So that should give you a quick idea of what an infection looks like and how a microbe could become a pathogen.